survivors, welcome to Help Desk, the place where we answer some of life's most curious questions. Or at least we try. Throughout this whole time together, we've been asking questions and pulling in different folks from the community, and today is actually our last Help Desk. We will be having a new worship series that starts this upcoming Sunday. It's called A Place for You. So we would invite you to keep plugging in with our community in different ways. But we have a great help desk for our last session today. So our question for today is, how can I support adults living with disabilities here in Atlanta and Dekalb? So this is actually not my area of expertise. So I won't be talking much today, and I am so grateful for two folks. They are two of our community partners. They share space with us here in the building and are an integral part of our community. It's Derona and Aaron. They will be talking to you. They're kind of doing a help table from at home. And they'll be talking to you about the work that they do, about ways that you can get involved. They tell beautiful stories about the folks that they work with, and they have some really exciting upcoming events. So if you've been kind of feeling like you just don't know how to support vulnerable folks in our community, this is one great way that you can reach out to them and get involved in their work. So I'm gonna let Derona and Aaron take it away, and I hope you'll listen and that you will kind of think through the ways that you might be feeling like you want to engage in their work. Here's Derona and Aaron.
Hi, I'm Derona King. I'm the Director of Citizen Advocacy of Atlanta and Dekalb.
And I'm Aaron Lichkay. I'm the coordinator of Citizen Advocacy for the last 3 years, getting to work with Derona.
Yeah, we're really glad to share with you all a bit about the work that we do. Citizen Advocacy, we're a local nonprofit here in Atlanta and Dekalb. Local people make up our board as well as staff. Our sole mission is to provide protection and advocacy to people experiencing situations of abuse or neglect or social isolation because of disability discrimination. And we do that by connecting ordinary people who maybe bring a specific gift or quality to a very specific person who's living with a disability to establish a relationship that will in the long run provide some protection.
Yeah.
Some of the things that make this unique form of advocacy so important is this aspect of not only relationship but ongoing and sometimes lifelong connections for people. I think about the story of Nick and Gail. That was actually a relationship and is still an existing relationship that is going on 41 years of connection, where Gail was a young woman at the time. She's a woman who lives with an intellectual disability and was experiencing a lot of a risk around personal safety, as well as people taking advantage of her finances and being able to manage her funding. And so her Social Security resources and some of the roles citizen advocates play in people's lives are varied. Some are very specific, some cover a gamut. And so Nick was a man who was starting his own real estate business at the time and was managing his own company and finances, living in Northwest Atlanta, not far from where Gail was at the time. And so he was invited to be Gail's Social Security representative payee as a citizen advocate. And that meant that he would be the person who would receive her and help her manage her bank account, make sure that her rent was paid, and that whatever resources she needed along the way would happen. Well, he was very, very good at that, and through that relationship, got to know Gail pretty well. And about the time that they became matched, Gail actually was pregnant and had her first baby as a very young woman. And these children, and she has several children now, and they're all, as you can imagine, 40 and in their late 30s. Well, through the years, Nick became Uncle Nick, and he provided a lot of really hands-on protection and instrumental advocacy for Gail. But there was something really powerful that happened along the way when these two lives connected. Some years ago, I can remember when Nick himself needed some support. He had hip replacement surgery and he couldn't drive himself around when he needed to and wanted to continue to work. It was Gail's daughter, the now grown woman, who was able to say, hey, I can do that. I can take you here and there. And the relationship was so strong with the family of always making sure they had a safe place to live, that when the now grown baby of Gail got married, guess who walked her down the aisle and gave her away? It was her Uncle Nick. So,
well, with me, my citizen advocacy story really starts not too long ago. But while I've been officially with the organization itself for 2.5 years now, I really came to know the organization through a more typical way of how we go about doing this work. So I was working in Clarkston at the time in a small office, and so she was walking through that community in Clarkston to see who she could find that kind of hit a profile of somebody she was looking for. And on that day, something sparked, and she found me in that room, and then we had a few more conversations, and she shared with me this Christian story, and then she asked me, would you be willing or want to meet him? And I still remember the day that we went out. We went to Stone Mountain Village and got ice cream and hung out, and I think there's still a photo lying around somewhere. But and that was, to tell you the truth, that was really my first experience really being out in a community with somebody with a significant disability. And that's not something I had really encountered a lot. I've worked with people in the refugee community and been in a lot of different places, but that was even a new experience for me. And well, now we're here, and I get to do the work of walking in the community or finding people and introducing them to new people.
So you've been now 2.5 years, and you're beginning to make these matches.
Yeah.
Tell us about a new match.
And I think this works perfectly. So I want to tell a little bit of the story of a newer match. I think it's still just under a year old, but of two women, of Mary and Sherry. So Mary, we met going to a day program locally in Atlanta, where Mary goes during the day, and we learned very quickly that she's very interested in performance and different art forms, using either acting or using body movement or even speaking. And so we got to sit down and meet Mary, and she told us all about it and the friend where she was meeting and doing these performances. And the key thing that kept happening, when we think, oh, we're interested in acting, well, all right, maybe we'll join a local acting community group, or we'll go to an acting class with other people interested in acting and these type of performances. Well, each time she would mention it, it would be a different program, a different service program run by a service provider. So somebody was being paid not for just specifically the acting and growing this passion, but to provide a service to Mary because of disability. So we got to know that, but that was something that's very important to her, and something that she wanted to and does continue to grow for her own personal life and passion and what she wants to do. So we start from there. We start thinking, well, who do we know in the community that shares some of these passions, that has some of those things? And I thought of my good friend in the Lake Claire area, and her name is Sherry. And Sherry has spent a career as being an actress, an actor. She's also taught acting and is very connected to that type of community and world around the Atlanta area. I think one of the greatest moments we saw early on is Mary had a performance. And this was probably like within a month of them meeting each other, and we made sure that Sherry knew that she was performing that day, and it was in Athens, Georgia, and Sherry drove up and not only came to support Mary and see the performance, but brought flowers. And after it happened, the hug and the emotions together, they got to experience that together. And then at that moment, you could see like this is a relationship where they really care for each other and appreciate they're there, and we can see this going for that next 10, 20, 30 years, and them being in each other's lives.
Great. Thanks, Aaron.
So as you can see, their work is so wonderful. We are really grateful that we got connected with them and that we get to continue to kind of support each other, even as COVID continues to make everyone in the world be kind of creative with the ways that they're connecting. So please stay in tune, sign up for their newsletter, get plugged in with their awesome events that are coming up. We just really hope that you will be able to find a way to support and give to the great work that they're doing. All right, friends, now it is time for our last things you never thought you needed to know, but now are glad you know. And today we're talking about one of my favorite things, which is aquafaba. Aquafaba. So the first time I told my sister about this, she said, I don't understand what this is. Okay, so does anyone know what aquafaba is? It's a great trivia question. Yeah? It is the liquid from a can of chickpeas. So you can get your can of chickpeas, like if you're gonna make hummus or put it in a stew or make falafel, whatever you love to do with chickpeas the most. And instead of just draining the can out into the sink, drain it into a bowl and save the liquid. That's the aquafaba. Tell all your friends, it's really great. So it's mostly used in vegan baking. So it can be used to make all kinds of things. The most common, I would say, are like meringue, like vegan meringue, and like vegan toppings for pies and stuff. And my personal favorite is gluten-free vegan French toast, and it is absolutely delicious. So I love to top mine with a little bit of vegan butter, syrup, and blueberries that you can, get creative. So if you've never tried vegan baking before, this would be one of my recommendations. And if you play trivia a lot, I hope that this will come up in your trivia game whenever we can play again, and that you will be the knowledgeable one, even if you're not vegan. Friends and neighbors, thanks so much for hanging with us. We have so enjoyed getting to ask questions and ponder curiosities in the world together. The work of Neighborhood Church, we do that all of the time. So we really hope that you'll continue to connect with us, continue to ask questions, and continue to be in conversation with one another. So I would invite you to continue to be bold and brave enough to ask questions in a world that continues to feel uncertain and overwhelming. We hope you'll join us for our next worship series. We worship Sundays at 11 a.m. at neighborhoodchurchatl.com/livestream, and you can check us out on all of our social media platforms and on our website to find out about lots of great stuff that's coming up. So, hope you have a great week, friends and neighbors.